There is an active open paid trigger playtest, and while there are a lot of new players, there are also a lot of mechanics and things people don't even know about. Today's video topic will be aiming, and I wanted to cover this because aiming is a crucial part of this game. I will cover 5 important aiming topics, and 2 of them are also hidden settings that are disabled by default, and they could actually make a big difference in your gameplay. If you're new here, I will be making a lot of videos like this, so make sure to subscribe, it means a lot. Some gameplay in the background will be from older playtests so I can show better examples. Okay, so first of all, I will cover Recoil Control because it's by far the most difficult aiming mechanic in this game. As you may already know, every weapon has different recoil, and every attachment obviously reduces that recoil. Some weapons are easier to control, some are harder, and if enemies are far away at longer ranges, it becomes even harder to properly control it. I tested every AR, and without attachments, the CL4 is by far the easiest to control. It has less recoil than any other AR, except the Rafale AR, which shoots in burst and barely has any recoil. When it comes to SMGs, Jackson is, in my opinion, the best one, and it has way less recoil than the others too. You can see it for yourself here. Controlling the recoil of these weapons will obviously be a lot harder if you're using scopes, so 1x will be much easier to control than 3x or 4x. You get my point. Hopping into the practice range and practicing recoil with the weapons you use in actual games is what I would personally recommend. The weapons I use are Monolith LMG, CL4, Jackson SMG, and the DMR or Sniper. Others might find different ARs better, of course, so at that point it's all preference. Damage plays a part too. I personally use only 1x on my weapons because I use a Sniper or DMR for long range, but if I had to use an AR or Monolith for long range, I wouldn't use anything higher than 3x. Before we cover the hidden settings, there are a few important factors I want to talk about that are also related to aiming in a way. Time to kill in this game is really fast, so you really want to be more aware of your positioning and make sure you get good positions on enemies. Portable TP is an item that allows you to teleport somewhere inside the circle, and it's mostly used for rotating. But if you use it to land behind or above your enemies to flank them, they won't even realize it because you barely make any sound, if you're at a longer distance of course. Swordwind's ultimate can do the same thing, though enemies can see you flying up, so you want to use it somewhere you're less visible. Weapons like Monolith allow you to have up to 80 ammo, and it can wipe an entire squad in one mag. If you have a good position and catch your enemies off guard, they won't even have time to react. Even snipers shoot fast enough that you can headshot multiple opponents before the others even react. Also, when it comes to your crosshair, the spread while you're shooting shows you the range where your bullets can go, meaning they can't land anywhere outside of that crosshair. It spreads when you're shooting, running, or jumping, so using hipfire while jumping or running will make it even harder to hit someone, which is why you want to be way closer to them. And if you want more accurate hipfire, there's one option you should try using. Okay, so you guys are probably wondering what settings I mentioned in the intro, and the first one is going to be shoulder fire. I believe this isn't bound by default at all. It's located in mouse and keyboard, then custom bindings, and then basic combat. What this does is give you another ADS option that isn't normal ADS or hipfire. It's something in between. It looks similar to not aiming at all, but it's a bit more accurate. I mentioned this option because we often run into situations where you can't use ADS because the enemy is too close and the scope would ruin your aim, or they are too far to reliably land hipfire shots. I use this when fighting at medium to close range, so I get to see more on my screen while also being more accurate. When you're shooting, you can see how the crosshair starts spreading. That helps a ton because it shows you where your bullets will go. In this case, you can see the target is basically inside my crosshair, so my bullets will land somewhere within it, rarely hitting the exact center. With shoulder fire, the crosshair spreads way less and it allows me to land pretty much every shot in the center. I tested this, and the first couple of hipfire shots are usually accurate, but the longer you spray, the harder it gets to actually hit the target. And this is with the best attachments, by the way, so it would be even worse without them. Shoulder fire has been helpful in my gameplay honestly. I'm still getting used to it and trying to figure out the ideal range to use it, but it's really slept on and not many games have this many aiming options. There's also a setting that lets you switch it from toggle to hold if that's easier for you. The other setting is switch left to right shoulder. I don't see many people use this and I assume it's because they don't really know what it does. You can find it where shoulder fire is located. This allows you to switch your camera position from one shoulder to the other. This is one of the most helpful settings in the game and you just have to use it. You can see how I'm standing behind the wall here. I press my keybind, it switches to the other shoulder and I get to see more on my screen. This is especially useful if you're standing behind objects or walls and scouting opponents. It basically allows you to see more and it's a huge advantage. There's also an interesting combo with this, which is using shoulder fire on the opposite shoulder. You can basically use shoulder fire with the other shoulder and get similar results. The only issue is that you don't see your weapon at all. So if you're using shoulder fire behind the wall, you don't know exactly how far you need to move to the side to avoid shooting the wall. With the default right shoulder view, you see your weapon and know exactly how much you need to move out so you don't hit the wall. The red dot shows where your bullets will go, so you want to avoid shooting when it's blocked. It's also harder to see that in the other shoulder view, and that's why you run into situations like the clip I'm showing, where I basically missed every single shot. Using shoulder fire with the other shoulder still feels weird to me and I can't completely get used to it yet. But for the situations I mentioned earlier, where you use shoulder switching to see more behind walls and objects, it's a must. Lastly, I wanted to talk about weapon attachments. While all of them obviously reduce recoil and increase stability, etc., the legendary magazine automatically reloads your weapon when you're not using it. Now, why did I feel the need to mention this in an aiming video? Well, because it's really strong. Monolith LMG is known for having a really long reload time, but there's a way to make that reload feel way faster while still getting value instead of just standing there doing nothing. Let's say you're using Monolith as your primary and Jackson SMG as your secondary. You can empty the entire Monolith magazine into someone, and by the time you switch to Jackson and run out of bullets there too, your Monolith has automatically reloaded, so you switch back and keep shooting. If your SMG also has the same attachment, it will reload by the time your Monolith runs out of ammo again, and you basically create an infinite loop of constantly shooting without manually reloading at all. In my opinion, this is insanely strong on snipers. Monolith LMG or anything that has a longer reload time, and not many people have really thought about this, so you just learned another broken thing about this attachment. If you like this video and learned something new, it would mean a lot if you could leave a like or comment what you think about these features or this specific playtest in general. I feel like not many third-person games have mechanics like this, and that's what makes this game really interesting. There's a lot more I will cover in future videos. This game has a lot of cool things, so yeah, I will see you in the next video. I do. Thank you very much.
Tier 30.
Okay, okay. Oh my
What?
god!
Are you serious?
Wait. Okay. That would be too much.